let's get ourselves a parking spot. Ah, got one. Okay, now, really, this particular area is not that far from the cannon emplacements. This place is called St. Andrew's Beach and Park. But first, before I show you all this, I gotta change into some different types of shoes. Just because it's a warm day and we are at the beach, I am going with my Jesus sandals. Plus, I don't really need my hiking boots because I'm already done hiking. Yes, this park commemorates the survivors of the Wanderer. Wanderer was a slave vessel built in the 1850s. I believe it was 1858. And it had its fair share of stories. It was a part of the illegal slave trade. America, back in 1807, banned slave trade between Africa and America, but that did not stop various people from getting in, breaking into villages, and taking people from their homes. Well, this park commemorates the 295 slaves who were able to make it out of the Wanderer. And one particular slave that we will follow today is Umwalla. Now, Umwalla was one of the slaves on this illegal trading vessel. So, let's check it out. Now, in the first sign that we saw, Umwalla was born in Guinea, Africa. And here we have our first sign. Pardon me, it was not 295. There were 409 captive men, women, and children who were illegally smuggled upon the Wanderer. And sadly, they do not have their names on the list, but they are still doing research. They still have some of those people. Taro Romeo Thomas, Lucy Lonhan, and Kulanji Ward Lee. So we do have some names, but I respect those. I tip my hat off to those who we don't have. My parents named me Umwalla. I was 10 when strangers took me in ropes to be sold. I never saw my family again. Yes, the slave trade continued for about 350 years, and I believe this is an African hut, I think, or recreation. It's kind of small. Pretty intricate in how it's built. Very intricate. We walked for days along the river. I had no idea what would happen to me. I was scared. And as it was saying in the post, they took a lot of the men, women, and children across the river in these types of dugout canoes. Oh goodness. So if you imagined me struggling to get in there, need to lose a little bit of weight, fun, just imagine how cramped those people must have been, being forced from their land and onto some stranger's vessel, the Wanderer. We were trapped with no room to move. Everyone on the ship was sick and hungry and horribly sad. I believe this is a diorama of what these people had to go through. 409 enslaved people had to make this trek, being stolen off their own land. That is very sad. And that was no easy journey for these people. That was a 6,000-mile trek. You gotta think, probably they crammed at least maybe about 500-600 people, and a lot of those people passed away on the voyage over to America. And I believe this is how the Wanderer and the history of these peoples wound up on Jekyll Island. Jekyll Island was one of the stopping places for the Wanderer in the transatlantic slave trade. These people would be docked, they would be brought ashore, and well, they'd be sold. Another story from Umwalla. I was given clothes and food and sold to a white man. His family called me Lucius William. I was no longer called Umwalla. And I imagine this is probably either stepping blocks. Maybe what it would have been like. But then again, I don't know where I was going with that. But I think it's time to go on to the next piece of history and the story of Umwalla. I worked from early morning to late night, but with no rest. I did what I had to do to survive. And I imagine this is a recreation of what some of these slave houses used to be. I believe so. Those who were traded, which was completely wrong, that should have never happened. Those who knew how to farm, they were the ones who were sold at the high price. Some were servants, some were field people, but looks like this is kind of a flour making grinder. Interesting. It looks like they have a little bit of spirituals. We're gonna play that real quick.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Alone, way from home. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home.
That spiritual was very, very haunting. Now only throw that on top of a mother who lost her child to the slave trade, or a father who was taken in the night only to be forced on a farm. It makes it only that much more haunting, revealing light on a part of America's darker history. The old folks told me stories of our life in Africa. I had forgotten, but they hadn't. Now, the Gullah Geechee community had a saying for those who did not know where they were at. I will put it right here because I cannot pronounce it. But what it means, if you don't know where you're going, you should know where you come from. Which I think that these people, while some adopted some ways of the people that enslaved them, the Gullah Geechee people community retained very much of their history. And it looks like Umwalla had a happy ending somewhat. Mr. Lincoln says we are free. We can live our own lives. God bless Mr. Lincoln. Although the Jim Crow era was on its way, there at least was a shine of light that these people would no longer have to be considered human property. I feel like this is a great way to commemorate the end of Black History Month, but I want to show you also a couple of other things before I end this vlog. It's really cool. Generations. We still share the stories of our ancestors. We will never forget what they sacrificed. As I say, old names, old faces. Don't forget where you came from. And here's what they call the memory basket, which it kind of looks like it's seen hard times, but who knows, maybe they'll fix it. So before we end this vlog, we're gonna go up this viewing tower. Again, I say I'm not in the best shape, especially with the cold winter that we've had, but I think I can handle this one pretty well. Yeah, I'd say I could handle this one pretty well. Now that, my friends, is a beautiful sight. Just look at that. Only in Jekyll Island. But anyway, you guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. That means a lot to me, and it goes that you should all care. I'm glad that I got a lot of good history in today. Yes, our time on Jekyll Island is not over yet. There will be one more spot we will be checking out. That's gonna do it for this vlog, you guys. Remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. That will keep you in the loop on daily content of my life here in the state of Florida. Stay posted, stay tuned, stay in the loop. Love y'all very much. Peace, you guys.